Hey everybody, I'm Jason Klaus and you are watching the Klaus to the Heart Show here on YouTube.com. We certainly appreciate you taking time out of your day to give the show a watch. If you haven't done so already, we would appreciate it if you would hit that subscribe button and get notified each and every time a new show drops. Now we are starting to ramp up more new content for the YouTube channel, and this one, we're going to tackle a couple different things this week, and both of them were sent to me by people that I think the world of. And I wasn't really sure which way I was going to go with it, if I was going to utilize it for the show here or if I was going to incorporate it into the podcast. I elected to go the YouTube route because while it is a powerful message and I could spend some significant time talking about it, it's one of those things where I wasn't sure if I could dedicate a whole podcast to it, but it's still something that I think is going to resonate, and I think that you will too, because truth be told, I've been sitting on this one for a couple of weeks now, trying to figure out which angle I wanted to approach. And as I thought about it, there was a variety of people that came to my mind that really is the epitome of this, because, and you'll see what I'm talking about here in a second. My sister-in-law, Melissa, who I just think the absolute world of. Anybody who knows me on a personal level knows that. From time to time, she will come across something on social media or a Facebook group or things of this nature, and it will resonate with her. She will screenshot it and she will send it to me because she thinks that it would make a good topic for Klaus to the Heart. Now, Melissa has been one of my biggest advocates and supporters from day one when I decided to do this thing. And she comes across some pretty amazing memes and posts and things of this nature. This one here, I mean, it really got me. And anybody that has spent any amount of time watching my shows or listening to the podcast, you'll be able to pick up real quick why this resonated with me and why I believe it's going to resonate with you. It was this statement: a mistake that makes you humble is better than any achievement that makes you arrogant. And when I read that and it registered, there were a number of people on both sides of the proverbial spectrum that instantly came to mind when I was digesting what I had just read. Because while we all embark on our individual dreams and these journeys that we take in order to get to a desired destination, whatever that may be, we will, if we are willing to put the work into it, we'll start checking off these various boxes in terms of accomplishments, right? Because we know that anything, I've said it 1,000 times by now, anything that's worth having is worth fighting for. It's worth working for. And it's not always going to be smooth sailing. And, we're going to have to find ways to overcome various obstacles and things of this nature. But I have found, in my experience, and in dealing with people from all walks of life, success will change a person. And it's not always for the better. A mistake will inspire a person, More often than not. Now, there are times where when we make a mistake and it really hampers our progress on what we are trying to do or what goal we are trying to achieve. Depending on the severity of it, we may get so discouraged that we will actually talk ourselves into abandoning the dream, the journey, our individual trek to wherever it is that we are trying to go. Now, on one end of that spectrum, success, as it comes to you, as you achieve it, yes, a lot of times, more often than not, it comes at the result of your hard work and your dedication. And it's something that you have truly put in your heart and your soul into. And as we start to achieve these different milestones, we start to achieve different layers of success. A lot of times that will alter how we think about things, how we go about things, and things of the like. Arrogance starts to come into play, because while I believe it is very important that we have a good deal of self-confidence, there is a fine line between having a healthy line of self-confidence and becoming an arrogant and egotistical prick. It happens. You may know people like this. As soon as they start checking off these boxes, for the lack of a better term, we start to get more and more confident in our abilities. Now, that's great, because you kind of need to have that as you're embarking on this. But when it starts to alter how you correspond with people, when it starts to alter how you look at other people who may not be in as favorable of a position as you are, and all of a sudden you have this overwhelming mindset that you are fundamentally better than somebody else, that's where it starts to become a problem. On the flip side of that coin, making a mistake that causes you to be humble, I think in a lot of ways it is more important than having any kind of accomplishment that creates this egotistical sense of arrogance. Because we need to stumble every once in a while to get things in check. We need to stumble every once in a while, and just, if for nothing else, to ground us. Because as we start to achieve different things and we accomplish these different goals, we get so wrapped up in it. Our heads are in the clouds. And when our heads are firmly in the clouds, our feet are no longer on the ground. And we have to have a solid foundation on regardless whatever it is that you are trying to do. Because if you have your head in the clouds and your feet are no longer on the ground, you no longer have a solid foundation. And eventually you will make the fall back down to earth one way or the other, and a lot of times it is a fast descent back down to the ground. It's not the fall that's going to kill you, it's the sudden stop at the end. And by killing you, I mean it's going to halt any momentum that you had. Now, making a mistake that that humbles you, well, I think that's just as important as achieving any kind of goal, because it keeps things in perspective. It keeps life in perspective. While we may be having these grand visions of superstardom and wealth and fame and popularity and all this stuff, all that's great, but if you don't have a solid foundation underneath you, none of it means a damn thing. because it's just a matter of time before something happens and you are going to crash back down to earth. And how you deal with it will determine what happens on that next step. Do you simply pick yourself up, learn from that mistake, and you dust off the dirt and continue trudging forward? Or do you allow that mistake to just totally derail any momentum that you had made up until that point? It's a fine line, and it's something that I think we need to keep in our minds as we embark on our individual journeys. There's a number of people that I could place on either side of the spectrum. The ones who have become arrogant because they have become successful to the point to where they no longer resemble the person that you once knew or cared about. I also know people that are extremely humble. The first person that comes to mind when I thought about the most humble people that I know, but still at the same time are making great strides in trying to achieve their individual goals. He's been on the show before, Verdi Shagnon, the professional wrestler who calls himself the Dread King Logan. That guy is as humble as they come, and he continues to amaze anybody that has the privilege of watching him perform in a wrestling ring. And he's getting more bookings, and he's getting more opportunities, and he's getting more eyeballs on him because he's doing incredible work. He's doing incredible things as he embarks on his journey. But I'm here to tell you, without a shadow of a doubt, one of the most humble people that I've ever known. All the guys and gals that work for Imperial Wrestling Entertainment out of Houghton Lake, same thing. They do amazing things up there. They put on amazing shows, and I mean, it starts at the top and works its way down through that organization. Very humble people, and it's the humble people that they are going to be the ones that at the end of the day are going to be making more strides than anybody who feels like they are untouchable. Because at no point is anybody untouchable. You may think that you are. You may have convinced yourself that you are, and you may have convinced other people that you are. But in all reality, that could not be further from the truth. All it takes is one big mistake to knock you off your throne, and you go crashing back down to the ground. Just something to think about as we embark on our journeys and we start seeing some real progress. That's fantastic. That's what you are working for. But don't let it alter who you are as a person. And for the love of Pete, don't let it alter how you treat other people, specifically the ones who have been by your side and supported you through every step along the way. Because when that happens, those people no longer want anything to do with you, and you may get to the proverbial mountaintop, but those who have an overabundance of arrogance and their ego takes over to the point to where it just changes them fundamentally as a person. While you are standing at the top of the mountain, you look back around you, there's nobody there. You have nobody to share it with. You have nobody to celebrate it with. Because everybody left that particular part of you. And that's the part that got you to where you are. So staying humble is one of the most crucial things that you can do, no matter what it is that you are trying to do with your life. No matter what it is you are trying to do with anything that means something to you. You need to stay humble. You need to stay humble because that's the way that you stay hungry. Because when you get to the proverbial mountaintop, you may rest on your laurels a little too long, and bask in the glory of your own spotlight. Meanwhile, other people who are in some sort of competition with you, they are going to pass you by to get to that next plateau. Just a couple of thoughts here on this first segment. We are going to take a quick break, and we will be back with more of the Close to the Heart Show right here on YouTube.com. Don't go away. Hey, we appreciate you checking out this week's episode of the Close to the Heart Show on YouTube. And if you're digging what we're doing here, don't forget, every Tuesday morning at midnight, a new episode of the Close to the Heart Podcast drops over on Anchor.fm, or it is available a half an hour later on Spotify. Don't forget the Close to the Heart Podcast, every Tuesday morning at midnight, powered by Anchor.fm. Welcome back to the show. We certainly appreciate you guys hanging out with us for a little bit here. And again, if you haven't done so already, hit the subscribe button, and you'll get notified each and every time a new episode drops. And if you would be so kind, share the word, spread the word about the show. I would really like to get my subscription numbers up. I know that's a shameless plug or what have you, but we're seeing the numbers increase ever so slightly, and I would consider it a personal favor if you would help me out with that. Spread the word, and let's get the subscription numbers up. And I think what I'm going to start doing is, as kind of an incentive, we're going to start some sort of like contest of sorts, for the lack of a better term, where if we get to X amount of subscriptions, we'll get some sort of bonus content up here. You'll get exclusive access to shows that perhaps other people may not have access to, and we'll choose random viewers, random fans of the Close to the Heart umbrella and we'll send them like gift packages with different swag, t-shirts, keychains, that type of thing. Things that are in the works right now, especially as we're coming up to the holiday season. And that's going to be the easy transition for this second segment. Now, this one also was sent to me by a very good friend of mine. Another, just an awesome person. I don't want to say too much, because the running gag with her and I is that we have this love-hate relationship, and I have no problem in kind of teasing, for the lack of better term, but a good friend of mine, a great friend of mine, somebody that I adore, and I think the absolute world of her and her husband and their kids. My friend Amanda sent me something the other day, and it really, man, I'll tell you what, you want to talk about pulling at the heartstrings. As I was reading this thing, tears were welling up in my eyes, because she knows, like anybody does, anybody that's close to me knows how much I'm struggling right now. Especially as we're getting towards the latter part of the year. We're coming up, Halloween is almost here, and then that leads to Thanksgiving and then Christmas. And anybody who knows me knows just how big I am with Christmas. Like, I go stupid overboard on it. And this year, for obvious reasons, and those who know me on a personal level know what's happening, there's a part of me that is dreading this, and I haven't felt any sense of dread in relation to the holidays on this level for a couple of years now, because in 2017 I lost my mom. In 2019 My wife lost her dad, and then this year I lost my brother. So the holiday season for the last few years has been nothing short of complex, for the lack of a better term. And my friend Amanda sent me this meme, or this. It's not even technically a meme, but it's like a post of some sort, and I wanted to read it to you guys because I know a lot of you have gone through significant losses this year. Not just from COVID-19, but there's a variety of reasons. But we've all lost somebody important in our lives during the course of this year. And coming up to the holidays is always, man, it's bittersweet, right? Because we just we want to be excited about the holidays and all the grandeur that is associated with it, especially with those of us who have young kids. Our kids are they're looking forward to Santa Claus and, the presents and things of that nature, things that kids look forward to. For us adults, it's a little bit different. While we want to be excited for our kids and to give them the best holiday possible, in the back of our minds and in the front of our hearts is this feeling of heaviness, of loss, of sorrow, of dread, because we're having to come upon this happiest time of the year with this huge burden in us, and not just on our shoulders, but in our minds and in our hearts. And Amanda sent me this, and I want to read it to you. It's called "The First Christmas After You Lose Someone Is Hard." You won't feel like celebrating, but you'll go along with it for the kids, for the family, but it will hurt. The presents not bought and the chair not sat in. The memories of past crimes. I'm going to start that over. The first Christmas after you lose someone is hard. You won't feel like celebrating, but you'll go along with it for the kids, for the family, and it will hurt. The presents not bought, the chair not sat in, the memories of past Christmases that threaten to suck the joy out of the whole day. But you will get through it. You may even raise a smile between the tears. If you can, thank God for the Christmases you had with them. Light a candle, cry, start a tradition in their memory, and remember the love you shared through the holidays. That is, it's one of the hardest things I've ever had to read. And, but on the other hand, it's one of the most beautiful things I've ever read either. And, there's a lot that I'm going to take away from this. And there is an incredible idea within it. And for those of you who are going through this year, you're going to that first holiday season without your loved one there. Believe me, I know how much it can suck bad. The lighting a candle in their memory thing is probably the best idea that I've heard in terms of trying to come to grips with all of this. And you know, we selfishly we could sit there and we could wallow around in our sorrow and drown in our tears and be pissed off at the world because someone that we cared about, someone that we loved, is no longer able to be here with us. But I am a firm believer that it is important that we try not to shy away from that. Instead, we celebrate them, and we celebrate the holidays of years past that we had with them. Because I know in my case, in my circumstance, the people that we've lost in our family over, we're looking at three out of the last 4 years. It's been something, you know. And you know, for me, I know that, you know, when my mom passed, I tried to shy away from it, and that wasn't the right course of action to take. And I know, you know, with my mom, with my father-in-law, with my brother, none of them would want us to wallow around in our sorrow for their loss. They would want us to honor them. They would want us to remember them. They would want us to celebrate them as part of our traditions. I think that is something that is not often, or at least not often enough, discussed and talked about and practiced. So I am going to do the very thing that was mentioned in this, and we will be lighting candles of some sort in each of their memory, in each of their celebration. And I think that that's as beautiful of a tribute that we could pay to them, given the circumstance. And I think that would be a good idea for anybody that's dealing with anything like this. I mean, even though they physically may not be here with us anymore, that the flickering of the flame on that candle will remind us that they are still very much with us in some way, shape, or form. And it was just a beautiful thing that I read. And can't really thank Amanda enough for sending me that, because it really really hit home. And I'm very appreciative of it. So with that, we're going to wrap up this week, and want to remind you that this coming Tuesday, there will be a new episode of the Close to the Heart podcast that will drop on Tuesday at midnight on the Anchor.fm app. and a half an hour later it will show up on Spotify. And as always, if you have questions, comments, feedback, show topic ideas, shout outs, things of this nature, we certainly encourage all of that. You can send us an email at klausoftheheart@gmail.com, or you can send us a direct message to our Facebook page. Just look for Klaus of the Heart. So with that, be awesome to yourselves and to each other, and we'll see you next time right here on the Klaus of the Heart Show on YouTube.com.